Charles Van Morgan Show. Come on board. Come on board. We got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about deleted police reports for the highfalutin people that have contact with people in power. They can commit violent assaults, police reports written because the hierarchy isn't there at the time, so they do their job, write the report. And then later on, in a few short hours, when the people in the establishment come in, the police report is deleted because they delete police reports for them for violent assaults. And if you committed a violent assault, you're going to jail for a very long time. So we'll talk about that. It happened several years ago. Somebody just informed me of it the other day. We're talking about violent assault police reports deleted, taken off the record. And just like it used to be said, if it ain't written down, it didn't happen. So we're going to talk about that this morning. We're going to talk about AI and the mass deception going on, and tell you how you get treated as compared to how they get treated from real life situation. Here we are out on the road, 9 degrees out here in Knoxville. I'll show you the roads. So they look pretty good in places, and other places they are very, very slick. So welcome. Charles Van Morgan Show. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about police reports deleted for people high in power. And if you did an aggravated assault, I guarantee you police report wouldn't be deleted. And we're going to talk about an actual event happened several years ago, but real fact still happens to this day. And I have myself seen people in authority stopped and drunk driving on the road, and the hierarchy comes to the scene and calls administration and lets them go. But you go to jail when you're not even drunk here in Tennessee, but that happens all the time. So welcome. Jarvin, Javid Rash said hi. Hello. So yeah, Charles Van Morgan Show. Welcome. Come on in. Got a great show for you today. We're going to tell you how different it is for them as compared to you. If you like the way things are going and you think they're fine, you think you get treated equally under the law, you think justice is blind, then keep on watching, because I'm going to tell you facts of how it's not. And so we wanted to show you the road conditions. It is 9 degrees here in Knoxville. The roads are still slick. They look clear in places, but I would slow way down because of the fact that there's black ice on the roads and it's 9 degrees. So come on in, like and share. Got a real interesting show for you today. We're going to talk about a previous event I was just informed of the other day involving Stephen Pearl. Might not be familiar with that name, but I know y'all remember Bruce Pearl. And it's not anything bad about them, really. It's really not. It's the administration of police departments that do crooked stuff. So according to my confidential inside informant, Mr. Stephen Pearl was out on Cumberland Avenue at a local bar drinking, and now he's a head football coach now, and he was out at a bar drinking when his dad was going through the allegations, now confirmed, of him recruiting people illegally, I believe, recruiting violations. Now, in my opinion, all of them do it. He just got caught. I mean, let's just tell the truth about it. Especially nowadays when it's about money, they pay them now. But I think all of them used to do it before, just about all of them. And he got caught. So Bruce Pearl got caught, and this was in 2011, 2012. And his son was at a local bar drinking, and a UT student came up to him and was making fun of him while he was at a local bar. So we're going to go inside. 11 degrees. You can see the road conditions here in Knoxville. The back roads are slick. The front roads are probably going to be okay. So let's turn this on here. And it's Charles Van Morgan Show. We're going to talk to you about how the upper echelon is treated as compared to you. So he was out at a bar drinking. Stephen Pearl, Bruce Pearl's son, and a UT student came and started making fun of his dad while he was going through that difficult time out on Cumberland Avenue. And we're going into our newsroom. I'm going to call it a newsroom from now on. Unlike any news you'll hear anywhere else, you won't hear this kind of news anywhere else because every other news is fake. They won't tell you the real truth. They're afraid. They're scared. So we're going to turn this on the green screen. So we're going to talk about Stephen Pearl. You know, he's a head basketball coach now. But if you did the same thing, you'd have done some serious time in jail, had a criminal record. But when you're in the end, then police reports get deleted. So I got some inside information about this. So this really happened. He was at a bar drinking. So we got a bunch of people in here on Cumberland Avenue. And let me turn this on. Then we're going to talk about, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about Lion Lowell Russell. And we're going to talk about Don Lemonade. He needs to make lemonade now. Maybe he can make some in jail. Maybe he can make some cooch or whatever they call it in jail, you know, where they cook their own alcohol, Don Lemon. And we're going to talk about Lion Lowell Russell, and we're going to talk about AI and deception. So this is the news channel you'll get that's the truth that you won't get from anywhere else, because all the other news and AI goes off the news they put out. This is the real thing, the real truth, because the only way you get the truth is if you're really there and really listen to it, or listen to somebody that was really there and really heard it and tells you what happened, not the news channel. So come on board, Charles Van Morgan. We've got a lot to tell you. You're going to be enlightened a little bit about crimes they commit, violent crimes and crimes you commit. Let's see what we got here. We'll turn that off, the green screen, and put it on the front. And turn the camera around. Let's see. Turn the green screen. No screen. There we go. And turn the camera around. So here we go. Here we go. This is the Charles Van Morgan Show. Come on board. We're going to talk about first we're going to talk about Lion Lowell Russell. And we'll tell you about Stephen Pearl. But first we're going to talk about Lion Lowell Russell, because he's one of them that get advantages, that gets in the government because AI and the government lie for him, for his nasty self. Now this show isn't out chasing views. This show I did previously, part of it, a few days ago, and it got less views than any video I've done in a long time. So because people, the truth is hard, it hurts. Yeah, well, I'm not out chasing views. I'm in here chasing the truth. So if you want to hear the truth, then stand by, because we're going to talk about Lion Lowell Russell first, and we're going to talk about Don Lemonade and show you some videos and what I had to deal with when I worked with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. And how this relates is that it's deception. The AI couldn't look up a report on Stephen Pearl because it don't exist. So AI, when it talks about people in power, it won't tell you the truth about them, because they delete their reports, because people in power, people over artificial intelligence, are the ones that are deleting the reports. So they just give you a one-sided view of this. But this happened to be recorded in the state legislature. This is Lion Lowell Russell. Now, this is why I have a doctor of jurisprudence. I'm very proud of that. A master of arts in sociology. The emphasis is in criminology. Now, this is Lion Lowell Russell. And if you type his name in Google, our AI, artificial intelligence, will tell you the most wonderful, beautiful story about Lion Lowell Russell. If you type my name in Google, it will lie. Why? We'll go back to the Stephen Pearl story. Nothing bad about him, bad about the establishment and how they lie to you. There's no police reports you'll find on Bruce Pearl. You won't find it because they deleted it because there was one. He committed a violent assault according to inside information that I have, and a police report was written and now it's gone according to inside information. And so if you type in AI, you won't get real information. But let's look at Lionel Russell. The beautiful Lionel Russell, how wonderful he is, a saint from God that landed on the earth to get in the legislature and beautify the laws and make everything so wonderful in the state of Tennessee, goes around, and he's such a victim of himself. But you won't hear about what he does dirty, and it's covered up. But here's something that he did in front of the whole world that's on video. And this was my supervisor when I was a state patrolman. I was out doing my job, and this is the kind of stuff I had to deal with. This low-life, sick individual, that's what he is, Lionel Russell. You won't hear anybody else say that. This is the real news. This ain't AI-generated fake baloney. This is real boots on the ground. I saw it, I know, and you'll see this right here. And it's a lot bigger than this. This is just a little glimpse of Lionel Russell and what AI does, deleted stuff. And we don't know half the stuff he does. It's all deleted. We know this little glimpse of stuff. So let's look at Lionel Russell, what he done right here. Here's Lionel Russell. Here's Lionel Russell. Now, he's a highfalutin guy in the state of Tennessee. Wow, he's wonderful. But let's look at how he treats people. Let's look at how he treats people. He doesn't like me doing this, but he wants me to be afraid of him, but I'm not afraid of him. Let's rewind it here and get the full story. Watch what he done. Lionel Russell, live. And you don't hear much about this mentioned, but he's an elected official in your government in the state of Tennessee. And this thing freezes up. It's a little cold. I don't have the money that Lionel Russell has. He took my paycheck away from me and lied on me. But that ain't in the news. What he said about me is in the news, which is a lie. But what he does is not in the news. He's a wonderful saint. Got a road named after him. He's so wonderful, like a military hero. So let's look at Lionel Russell.
Thank you. House Bill 7043.
Yeah, listen.
Are we going to quiet down and listen, or are we going to sit there and clap? All right, troopers, let's go ahead and clear the room.
Yeah, clear the room. I'm the boss. Yeah, shut up, citizens of the state of Tennessee. Get out of here. Get out of our house.
I don't know that we can determine the half, so let's just clear the room.
Yeah, clear the room. Lionel Russell, clear. Get out of here, Tennesseans.
This is the third time.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the third time. That's a lie. He's a liar. That's what I had to deal with. Get out of here, Van Morgan. I know you're leading the state and drunk driving arrest, clean up the roads, but get out of here. And then state patrol. Yeah, he's telling them what to do. Look at him. Let's watch this. Let's watch this again. Yeah, it's a state legislature at work.
That would be just fine.
Thank you. Without objection, off note.
I object to your ass.
Bill 7043.
Yeah, there's Lionel. Look how he acts. Look how he treats you.
Are we going to quiet down and listen, or are we going to sit there and clap?
Tell him, hell no, we won't go. This is our state. It don't belong to you.
All right, troopers, let's go ahead and clear the room.
Yeah, enforcing his rules.
Chairman,
Won't you clear him, Lowell? You chicken? Won't you get up and do something, boy? Won't your brother?
We can determine
Yeah.
the half, so
Let's-
let's just clear the room.
Let's don't be reasonable and just clear the ones out that were clapping. Let's get everybody the hell out of here because I'm the boss.
Clear the room.
Clear the room. Let's clear you out of the State House of Representatives, you dirtbag. How about that? There he is. Now it's troopers enforcing him. Yeah, he's the boss. He's the boss hog. Power. Yeah, get out of here. Just because a few people clapping. Now that's what I had to deal with. Out on the road, risking my life. And that's what I had. Everybody has to leave the House of Rep. That's the people's house. That's the people's house. They won't. I don't think they'll have you let you listen to people clapping our house, while he's on there. But this is just a few years ago. Troopers enforcing his rules, his laws, because he can't maintain his calm, cool, That's Lionel Russell right there. And if you type his name in Google, he's a wonderful saint. He won't tell you nothing about that, will it? Yeah, he's wonderful. And you know what else he did? Okay, you had two black men in the House of Representatives too, just like him. Two black men in the House of Representatives that did a protest. They don't like protests. Peaceful protest. Went in front of the House of Representatives and was protesting. Two black men and Gloria Johnson. And they went up there and disrupted the House, and they got voted out, put up for being voted out of the House of Representatives, and put a vote. And all three of them were on to get put out of the House of Representatives, elected officials. And Lionel Russell voted to eject the two black men, but Gloria Johnson, the white female, that did the same thing substantially, was up there with them. He didn't vote to eject the white female. So, wow, I mean, is that racism at its core or not? Now, he explains it away, but, well, you can't explain me away. At the scene of a tragic crash where somebody drunk killed themselves, Lowell Russell, whom I was trying to get away from, I had made complaints about him. He was dangerous to himself and others. I complained about that, changed shifts, because he got promoted for $500, for $5,000, what he got promoted for. So he got called to the scene of a wreck that I was at because he was my supervisor, because I was on night shift and my supervisor was on sick leave, so he got transferred to my shift anyway. He came to the scene of a fatal incident where somebody drunk killed herself and turned that into going to the man's house that lost his son. This is Lowell Russell. Now he's a saint. And AI won't tell you this. I'll tell you this. This is real unbridled news. If you forgot where you're at, this is real unbridled news. A lot of people can't handle the truth. The truth will set you free, or it'll keep getting people like this in office that are for their career, for their rear. They're not out for you. Are food prices, comfortable for you? Can you afford to live? Is your electric bill okay? It's because it's designed by people like him they get powerful, they get money and give it to all their rich buddies like Bill has been, and rape the system and tell you, hey, everything's all right, and they delete reports and everything's all right according to AI. I'm here to tell you the truth. It's not all right because people like him in power. So he went to the scene of this horrific incident, and a man had lost his son. How horrible. No matter what circumstances, I feel bad for that man. I don't feel bad for the way he handled it. But this man, Lionel Russell, incited him. He said that there was a problem with the pursuit. A problem with the pursuit. You look at the pursuit. There's no problem with the pursuit the way I performed. Slowed down at red lights. I didn't hit anybody. Didn't hurt anybody. Was doing the best I could to save the person's life that ended up killing themselves. Did everything right, according to even other people in the highway patrol that are afraid to speak because people like him, powerful in office, that will go after you. And right now, he's going after troopers. Going to try to look at the ones that are making a lot of drunk driving arrests and try to get them fired. He likes to show his power and lie to people. So that's a representation of him in the highway patrol, and just a total dirtbag. So let's look at Bruce Pearl. Now, I like Bruce Pearl. And his son, Stephen Pearl, and I have nothing against him. And this is not any kind of derogatory information about them. It's really not. It happened several years ago. I was just made privy to this by somebody with inside information. But Bruce Pearl's son, Stephen Pearl, now he was going through getting fired from the University of Tennessee for NCAA violations just in 2011, 2012. About the same time that Lionel Russell was doing this to me. But what happened is, and this is AI, it doesn't pick up this stuff because it's not there. So Stephen Pearl, he's the basketball coach at Auburn right now. He just played UT Saturday, and we beat his Auburn team. But he was outside a bar when his dad was going through all this trouble, and a smart aleck UT student saw Stephen Pearl drinking at a bar, and according to my source, my confidential source, he was drinking at a bar, and he smarted off to him about his dad, talking about he's going to get fired and running his dad down. And Stephen Pearl, apparently intoxicated, came outside the bar. He was on the outside, the kid was, the other kid. And Stephen Pearl was just probably a young man then too, in college at UT. And so he commenced to beating on the person. Even the fight ended up on Cumberland Avenue, where the road got shut down. Stephen Pearl was just literally beating the hell out of the student on Cumberland Avenue, and his face is all cut up according to witnesses. The road was shut down, so police got called out. UT police got called out. And Bruce Pearl's son, Stephen Pearl, of course, he's left the scene by then. And the person that was attacked by Bruce Pearl for smarting off, now he shouldn't have done that. He put himself in a bad circumstance. But you can't assault somebody because they insult you. I wished you could. You know, I wouldn't do it anyway, but a lot of people have the hell knocked out of them all day long every day. But I understand the circumstances. It's nothing really about Stephen Pearl. He's defending the integrity of his dad, a young man, you know. But the problem is a police report was done on Stephen Pearl's aggravated assault. The guy's face was all cut up. He suffered severe injuries and potential of death. I mean, because it ended up on Cumberland Avenue and he's getting beat up. The road shut down. Just a chaotic, violent attack from Stephen Pearl. Now the college student put himself in that position, but two officers came out and wrote a police report, UT police report, filed it, and for charges to be pressed, I guess, later against Stephen Pearl. The next day they came in and the police report was deleted. It was gone. Just the police number, the police report was gone. So that's what I'm saying. So if AI were to check information about Stephen Pearl, and he's got a side too, it may be completely different than what I'm talking about. And he might have been the one that violently assaulted and just defended himself. But according to our witnesses on the scene, confidential sources that I've got, that's not what happened. But he's got a side might be completely different. But what I'm concerned about, and it might have been, he might have been completely attacked. My sources say that he violently attacked somebody because they smarted off to him, and the police report reflected what I'm telling you. And the next day, the police report was gone, only a number. So if AI were to check about Stephen Pearl, that ain't on there. That ain't on there. He's a head coach. And congratulations, Stephen Pearl. I have every bit of respect for you. I've made mistakes. That's fine. But if you committed a violent assault or allegedly committed a violent assault, that's the story. If you allegedly committed a violent assault, would your police report be deleted? Hell no. And that's the way it is with these people in government power. That's the way it is with Lionel Russell. Every dirty thing that they do is not reported. So when you ask artificial intelligence a question, it comes up with wonderful, beautiful stuff about these people in power. That the dangerous aggravated assaults, even that they've allegedly committed, are nowhere to be found. They're just beautiful. But anything you do, or even anything that you don't even do, allegedly, is on there as fact, because the people in power are the ones that do artificial intelligence. So Stephen Pearl, police report gone. His police report's deleted. If you violently attack somebody because they smarted off to you, according to the police report, and I have inside information, do you think that would be gone and you would nothing would be recorded about it? I think not. So and he's the coach, and good for him. And I'm really not saying anything bad about him, but that's how artificial intelligence gets things wrong. You look at Tracy Trotz. Now this is unbridled news. So just like I said, that if you are thin-skinned and can't deal with the truth and want to live with high food prices and want to live with the government running over you and want to believe everything artificial intelligence tells you, then you might want to change the channel, because this is the hard truth that will set you free. That's good for you. This is unbridled news. I'm not owned by a corp. You know, they want to kill you, I think. So we'll talk about Don Lemonade here in just a minute, but Tracy Trotz. Now, this is the lowest show that I've ever got talking about Tracy Trotz. Lowest views. People can't handle the truth. And I'm not out chasing views They're on here. They're going to come. People love to listen to the truth. Evidently, it's popular. Over 2 million people lying Lowell Russell and growing. I ain't going anywhere. If he puts me in jail, tries to, you'll know who did it. And they better watch their damn steps. That's all I got to say about that. I'm a peaceful person. I believe in self-defense. But Tracy Trotz, if you type his name in AI, and I read his obituary, and if you type his name in AI, here's his picture, and he's not off bounds. His damage to society has continued past his death. So he's not out of bounds. This is Tracy Trotz. Now he was while he was alive, he's a lowlife in power that caused a lot of death on Tennessee roadways. He's responsible for a lot of people's death. That man right there, Tracy Trotz. Now he's deceased now. Oh, how dare you? Yeah, how dare he cause people's death? He's not innocent. He's a very guilty man. And if you type his name in artificial intelligence, it'll come up with the most wonderful story about him. I looked at his obituary, and I'm going to tell you the truth. The people don't like to do this. How about what's good for society going forward and not protecting a dead man? That wasn't a very good man at all, but let me tell you what his obituary says about him. And I've talked to other people that know him too, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's not just me. It's just other people don't say this. You'll hear stuff that other people don't say, and it's not to run this man down. He's standing before God. His tragedy on the face of this planet is over, but artificial intelligence tells you he's such a wonderful man. His obituary tells you he's such a wonderful man. I'm here to tell you I'm 6 foot above ground. I'm a fighter. He was not. And it helps them when we continue to confirm the lies of people that have caused mass destruction across the state of Tennessee. To tell the truth about people helps these people know that your legacy of what you did is not going to be lied to by everybody. Unbridled News, I'm not going to lie about people's legacy. His legacy is one of wrongdoing and death and destruction for people on the planet. And if we idolize this man, it gives them permission to continue doing wrong, and after their death, it doesn't matter what we do wrong, we'll be idolized. Wrong. I'm not doing that. He wasn't a good man. He doesn't have a good legacy, and I'm telling the truth. Now, you don't have to believe me, but I'm going to tell the truth because it's good for you and good for the public. Now, the fake news won't tell you that. They'll tell you what a wonderful man he is, and how dare you talk about a man that's deceased. Well, how dare he did what he did. And you need to know so we can make things better, because when these people are alive and they're doing wicked things like he did, responsible for mass casualties all over the roads in the state of Tennessee, and he thought, well, my legacy will still be great. I can do whatever I want to do. And we need to let these people know that when you do these horrific things that you do, that there are people like me, Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News, that will point out the truth about you. So your legacy might not be so pretty, instead of being afraid that we got to build him up because he's deceased. No, we don't. We have to worry about little children that got killed because of this man. And that's exactly what happened. So, and I looked at his obituary, and let me tell you a few things that it said about this man. That's a lie, and if you look at him on AI, that'll tell you that. But it's not true. And here's his obituary that I found here, and it says here about Tracy Trotz. And the reason it's important to say this, again, is these people in power do whatever wrong atrocities against you that they want to do, and they think that they'll get by with it, because after they die, the lamestream media, the government will build them up like they're great, and their legacy will be great in spite of the fact that they did wrong, because everybody will speak highly of them. But that's not true about them. These people need to know that even after you're dead, there are people that will speak the truth about you. So be careful what you do when you're alive. And if you don't want to be talked about in truthful manner, then don't do that while you're alive, because your legacy will catch up to you, because there's people like me. Now, this is Tracy Trott's legacy. Lowest views, like I said, I don't care. I'm not out chasing I'm not out chasing views. I'm chasing the truth. Views will catch up. Don't worry about it. People love truth. So here's about Tracy Trott. And this is what I'm saying about AI. It's false, deleted reports. We don't know half of what this man did. You don't know what actually took place until your boots are on the ground, you're actually there, and you see it with your own eyes, or you listen to somebody that was there, a well-trusted person, and usually not a journalist that we'll ever talk to, not journalist Don Lemon. You will find out exactly what happened, the truth from Charles Van Morgan. You'll know by the harshness of it, because the truth sometimes is very harsh, and we need to get to the truth in order to get what's wrong so we can correct it. Until we get to the truth of things, the truth of Tracy Trotz, we'll never be able to correct it. These colonels and these people high up in public power will be able to do whatever atrocities they want to do, and when they die, they'll be lifted up like they're wonderful people. And everybody will be saying, oh, they're dead, don't talk about it. How about we protect society and say, this was not a good man. Major Perry, if you do that, I'll run you down too. I'm running you down now because of things you do. And after you're dead, I'll run you down. It's called freedom of speech. It's called speaking the truth, unbridled news. So this is Tracy Trott. This is what they say about him. Tracy was a member of First Christian Church in Lisbon for 40 years. Wow, he's just a saint, telling you he's a saint. Where he served as a deacon and elder. So he was a deacon and elder of a Christian church. The family would like to, special thanks to many friends in the congregation of FCC for prayers and expression of concern. So he was a deacon at a church. Served 40 years as deacon at a church. Wow. I would not go or listen to anything or any Christian advice that Tracy Trott said. He caused people to get killed. He lied on me, and lied a lot. The leading trooper that got more drunk driving arrests that made the road safer for you, I was there, I seen it, I know what this says, than any trooper in the state, he lied about me. He doxed me, tried to get me and my family killed, and he's a deacon at a church. You won't find that in AI. You'll find that from somebody boots on the ground. I'm not afraid of him. I'm a fighter. He's not. He said, we won't succeed until we're fully committed. Hey, Tracy Trotz, I'm fully committed. You didn't make it. I did. I'm still here. And I don't care how many views. Let's get the truth out about these people. Matt Perry, if you continue to do what you're doing, after you die, your legacy is going to be, there's going to be people like me going to point out your legacy. Under Matt Perry, the new colonel of the Highway Patrol, you have no constitutional rights. He doesn't care what you think your rights are or what they actually are. He's done said you're going for the ride. You're going to jail, even if you get out of it, even if they violate your constitutional rights. Matt Perry, if something tragic would happen to you, and I hope that it doesn't, I'll say that after you're dead. Because people need to know in power in your positions that you're not going to get by with your lies, and AI can praise you all they want to. But I'm helping AI right now. Like my son said, you're putting out this information. AI looks through YouTube, and you're getting the other side out that nobody tells. We need to tell the truth. So he's a deacon at a church, at a Christian church. Now let me say this. This is not God. Don't blame God for what Tracy Trotz did. He was a dirty liar. Don't blame God. That has nothing to do with God. There's bad people in church. Go to church. God's in church, in God's houses. But there's wicked people in God's houses. There's deacons that are evil that cause mass destruction all across the state of Tennessee. Now, I knew where Trotz lived when he was alive. I got his address because somebody gave it to me. And they tried to trick me into going and knocking on his door saying it was a supporter of mine when I was running for office, and I didn't know. As soon as I found out it was his house, I left. But I have his address. I know where he lives. I know exactly where he lives. To this day, I do. I would never put that out. Never have. Because that's not right. That's doxing him. Could cause him to get killed. I'm not like that. But look at him. And I will just tell you the truth about him. Look at him, what he did to me. My picture on the front page of the paper, right here, saying horrific things about me. That's the deacon of a church trying to get me and my little children killed. Somebody that worked under, that was his employee that worked under him, that had a better job before I went to work for that nasty agency. So he doxed me. This deacon of a church puts my name out, my picture in the paper, doxing me. So people know where I live here in Knoxville, so that I could possibly get killed in the newspaper, and that's just one newspaper recording. So that AI won't tell you that about Tracy Trotz. A real dirtbag. Here's what Tracy Trotz said about me with my picture all over the paper. That's false. That's a lie. That AI prints this stuff about me, but it doesn't print. It says he was a deacon in a church, well respected. Well, I have letters, I have information from other people off the record, of course, because if you speak against these people in power, they'll have you arrested, they'll beat on you, they'll commit all kinds of vicious crimes against you. That's why Unbridled News is here to stand up against the wickedness of these people in power and to point it out for you. So here's what Tracy Trotz, the deacon in the church, said about me, which is not true. I know I was there, and you can believe whatever you want to believe. I really don't care what you believe. I really don't. I hope that you believe me, a lot of people. But I'm here to spread the truth, and the truth is not dependent on how many people agree with it. It's not. I know it's the truth because I was there, and there's nothing can disprove the truth. If you lie, there's always something out there that can disprove it. So you have to be very careful. If you're truthful, you can keep telling the truth. 15 years later, it's still the truth. There's nothing that can disprove it. It's a lie. There's things that might seem like it can because they put stuff where it don't belong, but it's still the truth. The truth stands the test of time. So Colonel Tracy Trotz, investigating after interview, determined Mr. Morgan did not commit the acts that he says I did. He said that. Here's what he said. Tracy Trotz, Colonel, this is under oath. He's lying under oath. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. This is the deacon in the church. And don't blame God for Tracy Trotz. Don't blame God for Tracy Trotz. And he's deceased now. He can't kill anybody else or anything. He wants his legacy, and the Highway Patrol wants his legacy to be one of greatness. Well, let me tell you the truth about him. I'm telling you the truth. I've been there. My boots on the ground. I don't care what AI says. AI doesn't get deleted police reports like Stephen Pearl. AI doesn't get the truth like this. It's getting it now about Mr. Tracy Trotz, deacon in a church. That's scary. That type of individual, a deacon at a church, that's horrific. I wonder about his soul. I hope that he was a Christian. I don't know. The way he lived didn't show it. Colonel Trotz's deposition. And so we're here on the case of former Trooper Charles Van Morgan. Do you recommend discipline in this case? So he's over me. I led the state in drunk driving arrests, lowering the fatality rate. Didn't do anything wrong in that pursuit I was in. Didn't hurt anybody. Was doing the best anybody could have expected anybody to do. I did. And what was that? Discipline. Termination. So I even got all fives on my evaluation after that pursuit. My supervisor watched that pursuit. And we discussed what happened. I told him. And then in my evaluation, he gave me all fives, which is the highest score you can get. That was my supervisor. No one of the pursuit gave me all fives. That is a score that's not given to every trooper because of the job performance I did. So I was given all fives, and Tracy Trotz, the deacon, is recommended termination. I shouldn't have been terminated. I deserved all five. I earned all fives, and that's what my supervisor, Sergeant McDonald, who was a great supervisor, gave me after knowing about the pursuit. We talked about it. He knew that. He didn't think I did anything wrong. He knew. He was my direct supervisor. That's not how the dirty Tennessee Highway Patrol works. If somebody wants to put a hit out on you, they don't care. So he said termination. Trotz wanted termination. This deacon wanted me fired, and my supervisor said that I was the greatest trooper that walked the planet at the time, pretty much, which I was. Not because I was great, because of the job that I was doing for you. Tracy Trotz took me off the road. People got killed because of him. You take the leading trooper that arrests really drunk people off the road, and what happens is the fatality rate goes off. Van Morgan's not out there getting these people off the road, taking them to jail for their own safety and the safety of other people. You got a trooper like John Pettigo out going in pursuits without using his emergency equipment, killing innocent people. And he didn't go to that scene. He said, I went to the scene because of the horrificness of it was a serious incident. A drunk driver killed himself in a high-speed pursuit. Happens all the time. Happens just last week. The colonel don't come out for that. He came out to do a hit job on me. That's the Christian deacon. He didn't come out to John Pettigo's case where somebody ran from him and killed an innocent 16-year-old, but the seriousness of the incident. I'd say 2 people killed an innocent person is a lot more serious, so he's a liar. He's a liar. He didn't come out because of the seriousness of the incident. He came out to do a hit job on me. Now, Tracy Trotz, you're gone and I'm not, and your legacy is one you wanted to uphold, and I'm not letting him uphold his legacy. He's a creep. He's a dirtbag. He's a liar. And any state trooper that don't agree with me, you agree with me on your side of the fence because you try to hurt me for telling the truth. I've got a right to say what I believe is, and it's the truth. And you try to hurt me violently, and I'll defend myself. You got that? And that's your message. Now, whatever you want to do with that. I'm going to stay 6 foot above ground. And I would advise you to live out your life, live out your career, enjoy your retirement, leave me the hell alone. You got that? Now, that's your warning. Now, I'm not threatening any violence. I'm threatening self-defense because there's a lot of them very dangerous people. And does it look like I'm afraid of them? So, it was the determination investigation that Trooper Morgan saw the crash, chose to ignore it. Passing the scene, this is what he said about me. Put my picture in the paper. That's the deacon of a church putting a hit out on a trooper that works under him that's leading the state in drunk driving arrests more than any trooper in the state. That's Tracy Trotz. That's his legacy. And my legacy, you type my name in and it trashes me. Says stuff evil about me that's not true. Not even according to other witnesses on the scene that night. They just happened to be there. But Tracy Trotz didn't care. He didn't care because his legacy will still be wonderful. Guess what, Tracy? I'm alive. You're not. Bye. And it's not out of vengeance. It's out of protection of you. Because we have a colonel that'll do the same thing. I can do whatever I want to do. After I die, it doesn't matter. The state government still build me up. Well, you got a little problem with that. You got Charles Van Morgan, I believe, sent from God to tell the truth. So just listen up. So here we got, he said, this is Tracy Trotz. This man here, Tracy Trotz, he's deacon of a church. And it's not just me saying that. I'll read you some more stuff. Put my picture in the paper. My news people followed my children at school. My children got bullied at school because what this deacon said about me, that was a flat out dirty lie, and I can prove it. But he's a great man. No, he's not. No, he's not. That's not true. Matt Perry, you're not going anywhere either. Your in-law or your relative, your blood relative can be Tennessee Supreme Court justice. You can get in power without deserving it. But you better watch out. This is America, land of the free and home of the brave and freedom of speech. And if you get gone before me, I'll tell the truth about you too. You better do right. If you want a good legacy, start doing right. So he said it was a determination, the investigation, that Trooper Morgan saw the crash and chose to ignore it, passing the scene, leaving the victim in the car that was smoking, openly caught on fire without knowing whether he was dead or alive. That's a dirty lie. That's a lie. Putting that out. And he swore to that under oath. Admitted that he had been in deadly pursuits and police shootings. And we know that they didn't clear me when I did everything right. And they cleared him. So we know that the Highway Patrol investigations aren't correct, aren't truthful. So if they cleared him and they didn't clear me, so by default, just sheer logic, I know their investigations aren't right. So maybe he was at fault in the deadly pursuits that he was in, because I wasn't, and I know they cleared John Pettigo, and John Pettigo was at fault, according to the stuff I read, killing an innocent 17-year-old by his failure to use emergency equipment. So here's what another person in the Highway Patrol said about Tracy Trotz, and a confidential source, of course I can't say anything, said he was a family man in his obituary. They said he definitely wasn't a family man, and everyone knows that. Heatherly most of all, Major Heatherly now. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. I mean, I'm just saying he definitely wasn't a family man. Tracy Trotz, talking about Tracy Trotz, wasn't a family man. Everyone knows that. Heatherly most of all. So Sergeant Heatherly was a sergeant at my time. Now she's a major of the Highway Patrol. Made the environment so dangerous even for herself. It was hit by a drunk driver. Everybody feels sorry for her. She, unlike you, could have lowered the number of drunk drivers out on the road. She decided to increase them by lying on me. She wasn't even my supervisor. Ran a covert operation to get me fired for her buddy, Line Lowell Russell. That's these people in power. Worked together in conjunction committing crimes. This is what somebody else said. I remember it very well. Trot thought he was really doing something big. When he drove the pursuit route in an unmarked car that was not equipped with a computer. Heavily pushed the issue with him as well. At that time, the car was not equipped with a computer. Heavily pushed the issue with him as well. No, at no time did I or anyone else think you did anything on purpose. And that's exactly right. That's somebody else in the Highway Patrol. He definitely wasn't a family man. So let's look at Tracy Trott's legacy. AI will tell you a beautiful legacy. How about the truth? So I'm just saying AI is a wonderful tool, but don't listen to them all the time. They're not exactly correct about everything. So let's talk about Don Lemonade. Don Lemonade, a journalist. Some people, some haters, and take a number, wait in a long line, you're very helpful to me. Haters are helpful. You know, you can use them to your benefit. So, and I do. So let's look at Don Lemon. And somebody asked me about that. How you feel? Because I call myself a independent reporter, and I am. I'm the most independent, honest journalist that you'll ever meet. Everybody's afraid to say the things I'm saying. So if you like the things that I'm saying that goes against the grain, that tells the truth about people that that their legacy is awesome, then it shouldn't be. And I don't care what they say. I know what I know. God's given me a good, sound mind, and I don't listen to people that lie. I don't listen to the mainstream media. You can read everybody's obituary. It tells them that they're wonderful. You know, I pray about things and listen to God and listen to verified sources. So if you like that, if you want the real news, sometimes it ain't pretty, sometimes it is. It really is pretty because it keeps us from keep going down in this little hole where the rich get richer and the poor get prison. And if you don't want to go to prison and you don't want the rich to keep getting richer, hit the icon and subscribe to Unbridled News, and we'll help you out a little bit because we'll get rid of people like Lime Old Russell. You see how he treated you? That's your representative. That's your representative. That's how he wants you to get out of the House of Representatives. Let's get him out. He don't need to be in any elected office. He's a dirty creep. So let's look at Don Lemon. He calls himself a reporter, and I call myself a journalist, an independent journalist, but I'm a real independent journalist. Not like that, not like him. So him and his boyfriend, you know, he's a reporter, and let's look at what he did. Don Lemonade's what I call him, and so I got it on here. We'll show you Don Lemonade, the video. He's been charged with federal crimes. He was in a church, and he disrupted a church service. He's been charged with federal crimes because he claimed he was a journalist and disrupted a church service and trying to go under. He was just reporting, a journalist under the First Amendment, and I make claims to be an independent journalist, and I am very independent. And people act like that I'm going to do like he did. I'm not going to do like he did. Don Lemonade does not have a doctor of jurisprudence. I know the law. And what Don Lemonade did, in my opinion, was a crime and justifiably charged with a crime. Trying to hide behind journalism to be involved in a disruption of a church service. Now, I would be very careful about going and disrupting any church service. I don't care what church it is. I mean, that's God's house. It doesn't matter if they have a deacon that's as corrupt as Tracy Trotz. Don't disrupt the church. Now, there's a line that I won't go over. Just like not doxing, giving out Tracy Trotz's address. I wouldn't do that. Never have, never did. He did me. But I'm not a wicked person. I'm a truthful person. Some people mistake truthful for being evil. But there's a line I won't cross. And because it's wrong. But it's not wrong. It absolutely is not wrong, and people confuse us, to tell the truth. Not to endanger people's lives, but the truth can protect people's lives. So here's Don Lemonade, from a perspective of somebody that's got a doctor of jurisprudence. I know the law. I looked up Minnesota law, and we're going to show you what Don Lemonade did, and go through the facts of that case, and talk about that. Let's look at this right here, Don Lemonade. And we'll show you what he did. And like, subscribe, and share. We're showing Don Lemonade. And he got charged with federal crimes. So here we go.
Looks, for this reason, it may look like MAGA coded, but there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here. So
does that sound racist?
That is what I like I said, I turned our camera off of them because they're getting
White people, they're using you.
But there we go. Everybody's ready to go. Let's go. Okay. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here. Thank you guys.
Okay.
How are you?
Good.
See, we're on. We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but thank you. Tell us why you're doing this.
So
This is Nakima, Levy Armstrong. She's on the show on Friday.
Armstrong, civil rights attorney.
So he's not telling everybody what's going on. Why is he doing that? He's involved in this. He's involved in this operation, keeping it secret, and that's part of the crime that they've charged him with. He's involved in it, and he's backing up these people involved in the crime. You'll see him right here where he's saying he's not gonna film. He's a journalist, and he's filming in a church in private property, but out in the public, he's not gonna divulge their confidential information. Remove illegal aliens. Remove illegal aliens. Remove illegal aliens. How about that?
I'm really gonna just ground us in the saddle chair right now because I feel like
Let's watch what it is. Remove illegal aliens. What would happen to me if I walked in the middle of that crowd and did that? I'll tell you what happened.
we need to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another.
Listen to the rhetoric. How crooked that is. They're getting ready to go into church. Standing. To trespass. We have a duty to trespass in the church where the gospel of Jesus Christ is being preached. No, you don't.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
No, you can go to jail.
You guys are sounding like Sunday morning. I know it's Sunday morning.
Yeah, listen.
I know we've been on this front line.
Listen to their rhetoric. On the front line, they act like they're.
This also helps our healing process because it actually triggers our vagus nerve.
Listen.
And all of us are sitting on edge right now. So triggers are out here in the streets of Minnesota.
Listen to their rhetoric. Listen to their rhetoric. How dangerous these people are. That's dangerous as hell. They're planning a crime and they're talking about it. They're healing and all that.
An operation that is secret.
It's secret.
They invited folks out. Can't tell you what is going to happen.
Why not? You're a journalist.
Here on the Don Lemon Show.
Why not? You're a journalist. Tell us what happened.
This
Doesn't sound like he's a journalist, does it?
For this reason, it may look like MAGA coded, but there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah. So he's.
The operation that they're doing today. It's important to have.
He's not telling you. He's not telling you what they're doing, and he's a journalist, but he's not telling you what they're doing. So he's part of the conspiracy. He's holding back information that he knows. So he's not reporting the news. He's not reporting. He's part of the conspiracy to cover up them about to go into church because he wants them to go in secretly. So he's part of the. That's not a journalist. That's somebody that's part of that corruption. And he is covering up for him. So he's part of a conspiracy, which is exactly what he was charged with. Let's see if we can get this going here. So like, subscribe, comment, and we'll show you what he did that is at minimum trespassing. But since it is dealing with a church, it is a crime, a very serious crime. So we'll show you here at the church what he did in the church.
Thank you. Thank you. You can go park now if you want. Or should we just get out now?
So we'll show you what he did in the church. Okay, it's not gonna show you. We'll show you what he did in the church. That was a criminal act. So he's blocking people outside the church. Okay. So he is blocking people coming outside of the church reportedly. And he told the pastor.
Get out. I can go park. You guys can go. All right, we'll get out.
He told the pastor at the church. He told the pastor at the church, in the pastor's face, told the pastor at the church not to touch him while he's in the pastor's church, trying to play the victim when he's the aggressor. Now here's what they did at the church. Okay.
Design the perfect voice for your brand with 11 Labs.
So I don't have the paid for it. So here's what he did at the church, which is how he committed the crime. And you'll see him talking to the pastor in the church, and tells the pastor not to touch him while he's in the pastor's face. If we can find that footage of him. So he's right in there. So that's the disruption that he caused in a church, at the church in Minnesota. And let me show you the footage of him dealing with the pastor. So you can see there a church service. That's a Christian church service. That they're trying to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ in. That's a church service that they're trying to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ in. And here's the footage.
According to a court indictment, journalist Don Lemon.
So he's charged with a crime. See if we can get the footage. They're not going to show. See, they want him to show the footage of him talking to the pastor. They're not showing that, but he talks to the pastor at the church.
Their ability to go in or out of that church facility.
So he talks to the pastor at the church. Here it is, and he alleges.
According to a court indictment, journalist Don.
Yeah, he talks to the pastor.
Others are now facing federal charges in connection with the reporting on scene of anti-ICE protesters disrupting a church service in St. Paul, Minnesota.
So see, they're not showing you.
January 18th. Now, Lemon and independent journalist Georgia Ford.
See how they're not showing you what he said? See, they're not showing you what he said, what Don Lemon said to the church pastor. Now this is Megyn Kelly's show.
We woke up this Friday morning to some breaking news.
They're not telling you what he said. Now this is part of the stuff that's going on in your churches nowadays.
This commercial is about selling your home, and while you'd expect to see,
they're not telling you what's going on in your churches nowadays.
Here.
And he claims to be a Christian.
We woke up this Friday morning to some breaking news. Don Lemon, the former CNN host who now makes a fool of himself on his bizarre.
So let's see if they show. Let's see if Megyn Kelly will show what he did in the church. Let's see if Megyn Kelly will show. Now that's who he's talking to outside. So that's where they're trying to teach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Don Lemon, a self-proclaimed Christian, and so even she's not showing what he did. Show what he did, Megan. So even Megan Kelly
stormed a church and took over the church in the middle.
Even Megan Kelly is not showing you what he did.
Absolutely terrible.
He blocked the pastor in. He blocked the pastor in the church and accused the pastor
Breaking news on the arrest of Don Lemon, the former.
Of putting his hands on him. And see, all the news channels.
Breaking news on the arrest of Don Lemon.
All the news channels aren't showing you what he did. His interaction with the.
Followed demonstrators inside that church, whose pastor was also an immigration official. Lemon was arrested last night in Los Angeles, where he was covering Grammys. Meanwhile, 1,500 miles away,
agents are at my door right now.
Well, here's the part. Finally, we get to see the part where he accosted a pastor in his church. So somebody's trying to preach the gospel, and Don Lemon, a self-proclaimed Christian, thinks it's all right to disturb a church. I don't think so. We're going to break this down from a legal perspective, and I'll tell you, I'm a journalist, but I'm not that kind of journalist. There's laws, and you have to follow laws. You can't stand behind the First Amendment and violate people's rights, trespass, and do things illegal and criminal.
I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible.
when the Trump administration first tried to indict Lemon in Ford, it was rejected by 2 federal judges. Today, Attorney General Pam Bondi said it was her decision to arrest the journalists.
And
You have the right to worship freely and safely.
Yep, that's right.
And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming.
So none of the shows,
And I will not be silent. I look forward.
but you're going to jail, hopefully.
And that date.
So none of those channels, if you will notice, none of those channels showed Don Lemon what he actually did. He went up to a church pastor in a church after they disrupted the church, stuck a microphone in the pastor's face, got in the pastor's face, asking him questions, trespassing, and the pastor was saying that it was outrageous what they were doing. And the pastor, he's right in the pastor's face, and the pastor puts his, to get him away. And Don Lemon accuses the pastor, saying, "Don't put your hands on me." Of course, they're not showing that part because they're going to idolize Don Lemon and act like, oh, he shouldn't have been charged with a crime. So, and they're not showing that part. The major news channels aren't showing you that part. Now, that's a journalist. Now, I'm a journalist, but a church is private property. Now, you can go in with permission, but when you're asked to leave, even if you're a journalist, you have to leave. A journalist doesn't trump the law, and he's right in the pastor's face, and you can see they don't show that part. On all the news channels, they delete that little part because the story that they're trying to sell is that Don Lemon was arrested as a journalist for the Constitution, freedom of speech, and he's a journalist. He's just reporting the news. Well, you can see the first of that video, he wasn't reporting the news, was he? Because he wasn't telling the news about what those people were going to do because he was trying to keep it secret because he was part of it. He wanted to do it. So that was his first mistake. He's part of a conspiracy to violate the law, people's religious freedom rights. Now, that's a right people have that's sacred. And they're trying to say we don't have that right in America. I hope this case, he gets convicted. Churches are sacred places. If you don't go in there to worship and not be disruptive, stay out of these churches. It's wrong. They're using the same laws as protecting abortion clinics. Christian people can't disrupt abortion clinics. Now, whether you agree with that or not, that's the law. You can't block women from going in abortion clinics or going to abortion clinics on their property. They're using that same law because it's added to that law that you can't go in and disrupt a church under that same federal law. So he's not just a journalist. A journalist is reporting the news. He is out in the parking lot with these people, conspiring with them. You've seen in the video, he's not telling you the full story because he said, I can't tell you that. So why is he not? Because he don't want them to prevent them from committing a crime. So he goes into church with them and confronts the pastor in the pastor's church while he's trying to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, and sticks a microphone in his face, harassing the pastor. And the pastor's trying to put he's right in the pastor's face, and the pastor puts his hands on him. Now, the pastor's not trespassing. The pastor has a right to be there. He's been voted the pastor of that private church. And Don Lemon's in his face and puts his hand on. And Don Lemon, in his audacity, says, don't put your hands on me. The pastor has a right to put his hands on Don Lemon and ask him to leave. If he doesn't leave, he's got a right to remove him. If somebody gets in your face, you got a right to put your hands on them, back off a little bit. So see how Don Lemon's trying to flip that Don Lemonade? You're not flipping it with me. I know exactly what you're doing. You get in my face and I'll get you out of my face. You have that right. He's acting like the pastor's in Don Lemon's church. And I mean, I don't care what they say. I sing what I sing. But all these news channels are going to show you that. They're going to show you the crimes that he actually committed. So the pastor tells him that I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Now, as a journalist, as a private citizen, anybody, when somebody asks you to leave their private property, you have to immediately leave. Initially, you could go on somebody's property and knock on the door, a political candidate. You can go visit your neighbor. You can initially, without a trespassing sign, without any warning, initially you can go in any church you want to. If the pastor comes up to you, and he doesn't have to explain the reason why or anything, that's private property, and ask you to leave, you have to immediately, peacefully get up and walk out of the building. If you don't, that's trespassing because you have been told. Don Lemon was told, I'm going to have to ask you to leave by the pastor. Don Lemon continued to stay in the pastor's face and argue with him. That's called trespassing. That's a minor offense. But when you add that in with the federal law of disrupting a religious service, that's a federal crime. Of course, they're not going to want to tell you that. So those charges were absolutely, positively, exactly what should have been done. Don Lemon needed to be charged with a federal crime, and I hope that he gets prosecuted for it. So I looked at the indictment from Don Lemon and the federal indictment, and the strongest guilty theory, he wasn't just documented a protest, he helped execute it. And he helped execute the protest because he was getting information. If he's a journalist, he wasn't reporting that information that he was getting. He said, I'm not going to tell you this information. You can hear me, I don't care. That's a conspiracy. He knows they're committing a crime. He's not a journalist. He's not reporting that information. He certainly reported information from the pastor in the church and tried to make him look bad. The defense will try to argue, even if you think he's guilty, it helps your... being present at a briefing is an agreement. They'll say he was gathering information like any reporter, but he wasn't reporting it, was he? They'll claim commentary isn't participation, but he withheld information. No physical instruction. They'll try to separate his conduct from others blocking. That he blocked the pastor. The pastor relented voluntarily. Now, after Don Lemon was told to leave, he told him that he was a Christian too. He wasn't acting like one. He wasn't there to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. He was there to disrupt it and talk about ICE enforcement that had nothing to do with that church in their service at that time. And he argued with the pastor, and the pastor relented and said, okay, but that relenting that Don Lemon could stay, I do not believe was voluntary. He initially told him to leave. He had to leave. He continued to stay in his face. People in the audience blocking people, creating havoc. Do you really think the pastor's consent for him to stay after he initially told him to leave and he refused was voluntary? That's not voluntary consent. That's coercion. We're going to stay and I'm a Christian if you're making me leave. That's not voluntary. They'll claim the indictment cherry picks live stream statements out of context. It's not out of context. The first of the video, he claims to be a journalist. The first video, he's conspiring with the people by withholding information. that they're about to commit a crime. He knows they're going to march on the church property, not reporting that, but he goes in the church and reports everything. Says some inflammatory statements while in the church, like they're doing right while they're in the church. He's part of that. That's not a journalist reporting news from the outside. So here at the briefing, he was secretive. He played an active role. When he was told, he refused to leave. And he was close in the confrontation, participation, not observation. So according to the indictment, Lemon wasn't just filming. He alleged to have attended the pre-op briefing, helped maintain secrecy, stayed after being told to leave, and got in the pastor's space. And if that's true, that's not journalism, that's participation. So evidence prosecutors love. They usually build the case with video, security cam, phone, live stream. Here in the case, he filmed his own crime. Saying, I'm a journalist. That's like you go in a bank with bank robbers and you hold that they're going in a bank ahead of time to rob it, and you know that. And you're saying, I'm just a journalist. I'm filming the bank robbery that I knew about ahead of time, but I wouldn't tell you about their bank robbery. And I'm just a journalist, but I condone what they're doing and talk to the teller. You know that you ought to give him this money, and the bank teller says you need to get out of here, and the bank teller puts out, and you get your hands off me, I'm filming a bank robbery. You know, I mean, really? I mean, it's absurd what they're trying to sell you in this Don Lemonade. So they usually build the case with video, security cam, phones, live streams, witness, congregants, staff, pastors, injury claims. Even minor bumps can be charged as bodily injury. Statements showing intent, we're going to stop him, block him, shut it down. Location proof, doorways, aisles, exit diagram of where people stood. They went in the church and created total havoc. Prosecutors don't have to prove hate, they have to prove intent and obstruction. I think they've got that very well with Don Lemonade. He is guilty, I believe. If I were on the jury, I would convict him. He's not a journalist in that sense. He's protecting crimes, and he should be convicted. So in recap today, we have covered the weather. We covered the weather. It's like 9 degrees out this morning. The roads are slick but passable. Bruce Pearl and AI deception. So Bruce Pearl's son was involved in an incident where he committed a aggravated assault, allegedly. A police report was written. I know that from inside information, and the police report was deleted. And that is how AI gets things wrong, because they just regurgitate information that's out there. The information that's out there is controlled by people in power. People in power's reports and wrongdoings are deleted, and it only reports the good things about him. Nothing bad about Bruce Pearl or Stephen Pearl. I believe they're wonderful, great men. I have every bit of respect for them. I don't believe they should have terminated Bruce Pearl at the University of Tennessee. But the issue that I have is the police department, and it was UT Police Department, deleting the arrest report. And that's exactly what they do in a lot of cases, that misleads the populace and gives false information about people. We talked about Tracy Trotz, a Christian, deacon at a church. Well, you've seen what another person said about him. His legacy is one of mistreatment of the public, death, and destruction. Deacon at a church, shouldn't have been. Don Lemonade, he committed a civil rights violation against federal law, trying to hide behind journalism. He covered up the crime ahead of time, wouldn't report that. If he's a journalist, why not report that? Keeping it secret so they could commit their crime. Goes in, asks to leave, refuses to, argues with the pastor, obstructs the pastor. And Christians are under a lot of abuse, and there's a lot of Christian and churches are being punished and tormented. Even in the COVID, churches were closed down, bars were left open. There's a lot of Christian persecution. This is an obvious, blatant case in the United States of America of Christian persecution by a rogue criminal organization in the public that is against enforcing our immigration laws and that is pro-disruption of Christian and anti-Christian. And they literally marched in a church under the guise of journalism and we're doing what's right for society. No, you're not. No, you're not. And that's what AI will tell you, but I'm telling you the truth about it. Thank goodness we have people in the federal government that are enforcing our immigration laws, and also we have immigration officers that are enforcing the law and also charging people that are persecuting Christians. So, and also we talked about Lionel Russell. I mean, just a little incident. You can review the video about how he treats the public. Lionel Russell is a state lawmaker. You think he's a state lawmaker, never been to law school, doesn't have any knowledge about lawmaking or any knowledge about the history of law or about how laws are made, about the Constitution, about your constitutional rights, about people's rights, has no clue about any of that at all because he never went to law school. He doesn't have to. If people in power want to promote somebody or have somebody elected, they build them up with lies that aren't true. But look at their bio. While he was a trooper, he did nothing. He got his job as a sergeant for $5,000. Somebody paid to have a legislator promote him. And he doesn't have any legal education, and because he doesn't have to. Matt Perry, over the Highway Patrol, he doesn't have substantial, legitimate education to provide for public safety. They give them these highfalutin positions, and they don't deserve them. And then their legacy is they're such wonderful people. So that's kind of embarrassing to me. Being a lawmaker without a legal education, why don't you go to law school, Lowell? Why don't you learn what you're doing instead of ordering people around like they're dogs under your feet? And that's what he does. That's what the legislator does. And that's how they legislate, like you're dogs under their feet. The mass population of people were dogs under their feet, and they make the rules and the laws to benefit themselves and not you. And if you don't believe that, look at your grocery prices. Look at the price of things. It's not a coincidence. Things should at least stay the same with AI and technology making the cost of goods less and less costly to make. Why are they going up? They're going up because there's a hole in your pocket that goes straight to Lionel Russell and people in power, and AI presents them as gods and wonderful. Unbridled News is going to tell you the truth about stuff. So Lionel Russell needs to go to law school. He needs to be prosecuted for his crimes and be put in jail. So thank y'all so very much for joining me. We'll try to have another show tomorrow morning. I had an awesome, outstanding viewership today. This is Unbridled News. You won't hear anywhere else that is aimed at telling the truth to help you to prevent these people from continuing to mistreat you. And it's also voters of truth enraged. And the way we can stop this mass tragedy of the populace against these people, these liars in power that have beautiful reputations falsely, is to vote. Voters of truth enraged. So get together and go to the polls and vote. And this is an election year, 2026. It's almost important that you just vote, even if you vote for the wrong candidate, to show, almost important. It's more important that you vote for the right candidate, but it's also important, even if you don't vote for the right candidate, that you go vote, because you show these people in power that the populace is looking and we're voting. And I'll try to give you the best direction and knowledge that I have as far as people to vote for. So thank you all very much for your viewing this show today. We'll try to have another great show for you tomorrow. We've had over 2 million people, working on 3 million people, join us. We're coming up on 5,000 subscribers, which is a high water mark. Evidently, people love the truth. And I promise you that I will deliver the truth, the hard, cold truth, to benefit you, not out of spite or bitterness. I mean, if you tell the truth, they try to pass it off as you're bitter, you're this or that. While they're telling themselves how wonderful they are and lying about you. They're the ones that are bitter and deceitful. Anything they say about me, consider where did they get that word from. Maybe they know it well because that's who they are. So thank y'all for listening. As I always try to say, may God bless you all. God loves you, and I do too.